Ladies and gentlemen, we have breaking news happening right now, and it's exciting stuff because it looks like we have a new console coming to market. And this is something that's been rumored for quite some time. We've discussed it many times in Newswave. The idea of Valve releasing a new Steam machine or a Steam console, and they decided to show up today and make that announcement. I mean, it's official. We have a ton of information that's just dropping all over the place right now. And while I will be getting a lot of it together for Newswave tomorrow, I just kind of want to go over some of my initial thoughts and reaction to this whole thing with this Steam machine. So let's take a look at that. Guys, you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, especially if you're trying to keep up to date with the Steam machine and all the stuff Valve's doing going into 2026. I'm very interested, so I'll be covering this very, very closely. Let's take a look, though. This is the page that Valve put up for their Steam machine. Your game's on the big screen. That was obviously going to be the focus here, but you can see looks kind of like a GameCube. You know what? I can't blame Valve. They are modeling it after one of the best systems ever released. Hey, shout out to the GameCube fan over there that decided to do the mock-up within Valve for their system. But here's the thing. It's not some weird-looking device or anything, and I think because it's kind of a muted design with, you can see a little LED bar at the bottom, I think it'll fit in nicely to most entertainment center setups, especially with the dimensions that are going around right now for this thing. Apparently it's like 6.5 inches tall, 6.5 inch in terms of depth and width and everything. So it's a smaller system. I mean, it is. Which is good to see. We can scroll down here. Here is the interface that they're showing, your Steam library in more places. And if you have a Steam Deck, you kind of already have a vision as to how this is going to work on the big screen. But I did load up SteamOS on a Steam console or Steam machine that I made. It's an unofficial one because it's using Bazzite and their HTPC setup, but it at least gave me an idea as to the vision that they have. And when you get it all set up, initially keyboard and mouse kind of needed to, put your information in and type everything up. When you get to the point of you just use the controller, it works really well. It was a good experience. So I'm curious to see Valve's, their iteration that'd be more official and something they'd be able to tie much closer to this hardware. And then maybe we get to a position where they'll even just release a much more updated, I'll say, SteamOS version that we can just start loading onto our PCs without any issue with more up-to-date hardware and everything and get the same experience. But at least for now, we got the little Steam machine here. Scroll down a bit. They do have just a quick glance at the core features. SteamOS, small form factor, cool and quiet, I/O, CPU, GPU, storage, and the thing I will stop and mention about storage, micro SD card for expansion. That is actually very handy, very convenient, just be able to pop in an SD card. Now, I still think you'll want to play most of the games that you're really gonna get into off of the internal storage, the NVMe. And the word right now, while we have two different storage types that'll be for sale initially, 512 and 2 terabyte, it sounds like that's gonna be replaceable. As in, if you get the 512 gigabyte model, you'll be able to change it out yourself. Now, we have to see a teardown and everything for the system first, just to find out how much work is involved for the end user in doing that. But the fact that this will be something you can kind of tinker around with, at least for the storage, is good. You can just get the 512 gig initially, and then who knows, maybe go up to 4 terabytes with the NVMe. Connectivity is Wi-Fi 6E plus Bluetooth 5.3. And then it actually has 5.3 has a dedicated antenna for Bluetooth. That's nice. And the Steam controller's wireless adapter is built right into the Steam machine, so it'll just directly pair to their Steam controller. Also, no power brick. I don't know if you've tried to do any of these like mini PCs that come out. There's a lot of times where you need this big old brick. They got to fit behind your entertainment center. So it is nice. I mean, the smaller form factor, but they still have the power supply integrated. That's good stuff. And there is an LED strip, but I do like this. Check this out. They let you change the front almost like kind of reminds me a bit of a faceplate for the 360. Appears to be magnetic. And the word going around right now is that Valve will have the 3D files released for people who want to just 3D print their own, or I guess design them at different websites. I'm sure that will be all about doing this and then releasing tons and tons of different facings for your your Steam machine. Pretty cool idea, I think. And then you have the LED strip here. Look, you need to have RGB if you're going to be in the PC scene, but also this would work to, I assume, deliver critical information when it can't display it on the TV. So let's say there's an error code, maybe there's blinks or certain apparently there's 17 different lights in here to make up this strip, and they can change to all different colors, but that would work into troubleshooting and stuff as well. They also mentioned animation, so I'm sure they can do all kinds of fun stuff with this. It's a little thing, the idea of RGB. PC gamers love RGB, though. I mean, I think most people like the idea of it because it can look really cool, but RGB is a staple now in PC gaming. Then we have it runs on SteamOS and Steam Machine Verified. This Steam Machine Verified thing, okay, so here's what I want to see out of that. If there's a Steam Machine Verified tag on a game, I want that to mean that you don't need a keyboard and mouse at all. Now, that's the thing I ran into with the little Steam machine I made. There were games, some of them older, where you start it up and it'll hit you with some weird DirectX prompt and it kicks you out of SteamOS kinda. It's like hovering over it and you got to get the keyboard and mouse. I want the Steam Machine Verified to mean, nope, you have a controller. That's all you need. You don't got to get the keyboard and mouse out, okay? This is specifically designed for the living room with what this Steam machine is really being designed to take advantage of. And then, of course, it working into the specifications and stuff for the Steam machine here, which we'll get to here soon. But that's what I would like this to mean, Steam Machine Verified. I mean, the Steam Deck Verified really does mean that it's set up specifically for the Steam Deck and its form factor and the controls. So let's do the same thing here with the Steam Machine Verified. It is a PC as well. You can load up your own OS, install your own apps. I mean, you can have Windows on here running Game Pass, I guess, if you want. This is particularly big, I think, for the emulation community, because this should be a very, very capable emulation box. PS3 games should run on it, 360, and then even that GameCube, Xbox, PS2 era. I mean, we're talking 4K 60. They should be able to run that no problem. So a lot of use cases for this, even outside of gaming. It'll just be a good PC. So if you need it for office work or to do your homework or something, you can use the little Steam machine for that. Here's just a rundown of their different devices. As Valve is building out a hardware ecosystem, you can call it, go from the Steam Deck to your really nice PC in your office that runs 4K, 144 hertz or whatever, but then also go out in your living room with the Steam machine, maybe when you just want to hang out on the couch and play a game with a controller. And the idea being your account, and then also your save games, everything just goes between them seamlessly. This is the thing that Microsoft is trying to get to market for next generation. And here comes Valve. They're kind of beating them there. I mean, this device is slated for 2026. And I don't think we're going to have the next Xbox by early next year or something. So it seems like Valve is going to get to market with this idea and this concept before Microsoft. And I don't think that's going to sit well with Microsoft because SteamOS is slowly becoming more and more of a competitor. I say slowly because Linux is a bit more than 3% or something, I think, of the market. It's got a ways to go, but it is climbing. So that's just something to keep in mind there. This is kind of the dream and the vision. And I've seen the vision with the SteamOS on that little PC and the Steam Deck kind of working together. Now we go down here, we can see the technical details they released for this along with the silhouette of the device. So we have two USB type A's on the front, a micro SD card, indicator LED, and then a power button. Very easy to get to the micro SD card slot. We have DisplayPort and HDMI on the back for display out. It looks like the HDMI port, they have that rated as 2.0, but 4K at 60 hertz. I'll have to see that in action. I don't know. And then DisplayPort is like up to 8K, 60, all that. We have AC port connector, Ethernet, and then two USB type A ports, as well as a USB-C. Big vent on the back here with the fan mesh. So I'm kind of figuring it's going to pull air through the front. Probably a big tower heatsink inside where all that air flows through, and then it'll go out the back. Larger fan, of course, means that it should be quieter, and with a larger heatsink that the air flow through, hopefully means that temperatures are under control and the system won't have to spin that fan super fast to keep up, and that means that we just have a quieter system overall. So here we are with our technical specifications. Semi-custom AMD Zen 4 6-core 12 threads, up to 4.8 gigahertz, 30 watt TDP. The GPUs coming in as semi-custom AMD RDNA 3, 28 CUs, compute units, 2.45 gigahertz max sustained clock, 110 watt TDP. The RAM is 16 gigabytes DDR5 plus 8 gigabytes GDDR6 for VRAM. It's so funny to think about this. Nowadays, 8 gigabytes feels low. It's weird. But we do have a lot of games that, I mean, are VRAM hungry. So I'm trying to figure out where Valve is going to end up placing this thing in the resolution scale. I'm kind of thinking it's going to be a good 1080p, good 1440p, okay 4K. That's sort of what I'm thinking. And Valve is already kind of talking about FSR, not only with Steam Deck, but also with this device. So I'm thinking it's going to be that situation of it's in the living room, you're sitting 8 feet back or something from your TV, and we're going to use FSR to go from 1440p to 4K. And it's going to look, quote unquote, good enough. Kind of similar to what we have with consoles right now. And that's worked. So I think that's where the expectation should be. 1080p, high to ultra settings, 1440p, medium to high settings, and then 4K for older titles that can run within the 8 gigabyte GDDR6 VRAM parameters. But I think this is all going to come down to pricing. All right. People will look at these specifications very differently if Valve shows up and says, hey, the 512 gigabyte model, because remember, there's 2 different versions. If Valve shows up and is like, that is $500, I think people will look at these specs and go, okay, that's not bad. Okay, I get it. This makes sense now. If they show up and say the 512 gigabyte model is $800 and then the 2 terabyte is $1,000, people go, that 8 gigabytes GDDR6 VRAM, that's a tough sell now. You see what I mean? So I think it's going to come down to pricing. They have not revealed price point for this yet. And I think there's a reason. I think the reason is right now, the market around especially chips that are used for RAM and flash storage, NAND, all that stuff, they're fluctuating and they've jumped considerably. I mean, just in the last few weeks. So I kind of wonder if Valve is trying to figure out that market before they really lock in on a price point. And if it's out next year, first half of next year, they still have time. They're going to, I assume, sell this through their website. It probably won't be in stores. And because of that, they can almost get to like 0 hour before they set the price and then just make them go live on their website. Valve has proven that they understand pricing is very important. They were very price sensitive with the Steam Deck. When that came out at $400, people were legitimately surprised. Like, wow, that's a good price. And Gabe Newell did say that it was difficult to get there. So I think with this Steam machine, if they turn in at $500, that'll be pretty good. My expectation for this device is, I'm going to say 600, because I think if you get above that, people do start kind of double taking at these specs and like, $800 for this? Yeah. So I think 600 would make a lot of sense for the 512 gigabyte model. And then maybe the 2 terabyte is legitimately like $900 because, hey, that's just, look how expensive these, all the flash storage and RAM chips and stuff are. But you know what? I am very, very intrigued with this device. I am. I saw some people mention, hey, this is because I was, of course, said this is the GameCube, right? It's the Gabe Cube. Gabe Newell, Gabe Cube. That's clever. I'm very, very interested in this. This could be really cool. I don't know if this is going to be something that really breaks into. The Steam Deck isn't necessarily mainstream. It sold millions of systems, but it's not like this 20, 30, 40 million seller. I don't know if this will get them there either. It really depends on how they treat it, how they market it, where they sell it. But this could be big. It could be. Got to get that pricing, though. That's going to be the thing that I think really determines how this does outside of the usual PC niche, right? Can this break into the mainstream and become something that, I mean, if somebody just wants to explore PC gaming, you can go, you know what? Grab the Steam machine, put it in your living room, get a controller, and you're good to go. If that can become that kind of recommendation, I think they might have something here. But let me know what you guys think about this down below with the Steam machine finally being revealed. Are you interested in picking this up? And how much do you think it'll end up costing? Thanks, guys, for watching, and I'll see you next time.